The last box was taped shut. The movers were loading the truck. And there, on the marble kitchen island she had helped me choose, was the only thing she left behind. The spare key to this house. The house I bought for us. I stood there, holding that cold piece of metal, and I realized I hadn't just lost a daughter. I had been an investment, and her returns had finally come in. My world used to be simple. For the longest time, it was just me and Anya. After her father passed, we built a life on a school teacher's salary. It was a life of packed lunches, second-hand uniforms, and dreams we could only afford to whisper about. I remember saving for months to buy her a new bicycle, watching her face light up on her birthday. That joy was my currency. It was enough. Everything changed when I turned 55. A small investment my late husband had made, one we'd almost forgotten about, matured into something significant. Not billionaire wealth, but life-altering money. We moved from our cozy two-bedroom apartment to a beautiful three-story house with a garden. For the first time, I could breathe. I could give Anya the security I'd always wanted for her. And I did. If she needed something, she had it. A new laptop for her design course? Of course. A car for her graduation? It was waiting in the driveway. I paid off her student loans. I never wanted her to carry the weight I had. I thought I was building a fortress around her. A fortress of love and safety. I never saw that I was also teaching her that the walls were made of money. The shift was subtle at first. She started talking about my house. She'd bring her new, wealthy friends over and give them tours, her voice taking on a proud, possessive tone that didn't quite sit right. Then came the engagement to Rohan. He came from a family with old money, and suddenly our world wasn't enough for her. The true turning point was a conversation about the wedding. We were sitting in the garden, looking at venues on her tablet. "We need a destination wedding in Bali, Mum," she said, not looking up from the screen. "It's the only place that fits our aesthetic." "Anya, that's incredibly expensive. Even with my help." She finally looked at me, and her expression was not one of a daughter asking for a dream, but of a CEO stating a requirement. "But you can afford it. This is my wedding. I thought you'd want to give me the perfect start." I felt a cold knot tighten in my stomach. It was the first time her love felt conditional on my wallet. The fairy tale I thought we were living was, in fact, a transaction. The wedding planning became a masterclass in pressure. Every discussion was a negotiation where I was expected to concede. The guest list ballooned with Rohan's family and their associates. Anya insisted on a designer lehenga that cost more than my first car. When I tried to gently suggest scaling back, she would grow cold and distant for days, accusing me of not supporting her happiness. "Rohan's mother is paying for the entire orchestra for their side," she'd say, her voice laced with a new, sharp envy. "I don't want to look poor in front of them." The word poor felt like a slap. After all I had done, all I had given, that was her greatest fear? Not being unloved, but being seen as poor? The final financial demand was the down payment on a luxury apartment. "It's an investment, Mum," she reasoned. "You want your grandchildren to live in a good area, don't you?" The emotional blackmail was expertly crafted. Saying no felt like I was rejecting my future grandchildren. The private cost was a deep, gnawing loneliness. I'd eat my dinners alone in our big, quiet house, the silence broken only by the hum of the refrigerator. I looked at the receipts on my desk not as bills, but as measurements of my dwindling connection to my own child. I was financing my own isolation. "Rohan's mother is paying for the entire orchestra for their side," she'd say, her voice laced with a new, sharp envy. "I don't want to look poor in front of them." The word poor felt like a slap. After all I had done, all I had given, that was her greatest fear? Not being unloved, but being seen as poor? The week before the wedding, I was looking for some old photo albums in the storage room. As I moved a box, a folder fell to the floor. It was Anya's, one I hadn't seen before. Inside were printouts for a business proposal. It was for an interior design firm, a plan she had once passionately shared with me. Scrawled in the margin, in Rohan's handwriting, was a note. Forget this. Once we have the apartment and the rest of the trust fund, you won't need to work. Let your mum fund the life we deserve. I sat on the cold floor, the paper trembling in my hands. It wasn't just about a wedding or an apartment. It was a coordinated plan to secure my assets, and my role was simply to sign the checks until there was nothing left. The initial shock gave way to a calm, cold clarity. There would be no screaming match, no dramatic scene. I was a teacher. My strength was in strategy and patience. I quietly met with my financial advisor and my lawyer. I restructured my finances, placing the bulk of it into a trust for my own retirement and future charitable gifts, making it untouchable. I prepared the documents to transfer the title of the new apartment into my name alone as the sole investor. I decided I would pay for the wedding as promised, but not a rupee more. It would be my final grand gift. I invited Anya and Rohan over after the wedding festivities had died down. We sat in the same garden where this had all begun. "The wedding was beautiful, thank you, Mum," Anya said, already looking past me to the next thing. "So, about the apartment transfer papers." I slid a single envelope across the table. "I've paid the down payment. The apartment is in my name. It's a good investment, as you said. You and Rohan are welcome to pay me rent until you're ready to buy your own place." The silence was absolute. Rohan's face went pale. Anya stared at me, her composure shattering. "Rent? Your name? What are you talking about? That was for us." "I know what it was for," I said, my voice steady. "And this is my response." The confrontation wasn't loud. It was a quiet, seismic shift in power. They left shortly after, their plans in ruins. The fortress I built had a new gatekeeper. Me. It's been 6 months. Anya and I are civil. Our relationship is a distant, polite one. It's a quiet ache I carry with me every day. But the peace I have now is genuine. I volunteer. I travel with friends. I live a life that is truly my own. I learned that the most difficult gift a mother can give is not everything she has, but the dignity of her own boundaries. I had to teach my daughter one final, painful lesson: that a mother's love is a gift, not a line of credit. If this real-life story resonated with you, please share your thoughts in the comments. For more calm reflections on family and life, consider subscribing. Thank you for listening.